Hickok 45 here, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, the home of Jack Daniels. Yes, you all knew that, didn't you? Tennessee sipping whiskey, is that right? I'm not an expert on whiskey, but I've been through the Jack Daniels distillery a couple of times in my life, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, welcome to Tennessee, out here in the woods. And I forgot my speaker, so I laid my phone up by the played the song. All right, I was gonna just forgot my speaker, didn't bring it, so we'll forget the song. I said, wait a minute, I can do that. I can work that out through high tech. I should show you what I attached to the tripod to get the phone to lay there. But yeah, here we are. Gosh, another rambling Sunday, huh? Yeah, lots happened. I guess, through the week. Lots happened in the last few months. You cannot keep up with it, can you? Oh, you're probably a lot like I am. You just really find yourself staying away from the news. It's crazy even anytime, even when there's not a lot going on. Why? Because if you've paid attention to my lessons, you know that's the media's number one job, to make you think a lot's going on, right? Create drama where no drama exists. Make something interesting, it's really not that interesting. Make something political, it's really not that political. Unfortunately, I think they turn a lot of mush-brained people into political activists just because of that need a purpose in life, don't have much going on. But anyway, there is a lot going on lately, and it's just almost too much. The media, they don't know what to do. How do you make this dramatic? Well, of course, drama is just one side of it, isn't it? The other side is they need to shape how we think about it. Right? That's the number two, or maybe the number one objective. So a lot going on, and maybe let's see, let's direct them this way and that way, and keep people divided, keep them coming back to find out how bad it is tomorrow. So anyway, crazy day. Speaking of that, I got pretty heavy last week talking about bigotry, like I'm a preacher or something, right? Well, I don't guess anybody complained about it, but I did want to follow up. And well, I mean, I'm sure somebody did, but I did want to follow up with that, and I didn't want to, qualify it too much last week, especially. Emotions are high and sensitive and everything right now for a lot of people, not just people who live by their emotions, right, every day. But don't misunderstand me. It occurred to me after I talked about that, yacked about that a lot, that we really, as human beings, want to work on, that's our goal, I think. One of our primary objectives is not to judge people based on, their skin, their religion, their nationality, their intelligence, their gender, all those things. But then again, remember that we also have the right not to like somebody, right? That has nothing to do with bigotry. I base whether I like somebody on their behavior, mostly. I mean, personality, their behavior, common interests. That doesn't mean I hate them if they don't have a common interest or they have a way different personality. It's like all of us. We tend to want to hang out with people that we just we enjoy their company. They enjoy our company because we sort of sync. We find the same things humorous. We find the same things interesting to talk about. Maybe we have the same hobbies. That's natural. It's the way it is. It's just the way it is. And but people who, for whatever reason, have an obnoxious personality, hey, I'm not going to like them. I'm not going to want to hang out with them. Again, there's absolutely no difference what their gender is or their color, their religion, go through the whole list. that makes absolutely no difference. If I don't like their personality, if I don't like what they stand for, they're against me, they're trying to control me in some way, reduce my freedom. Of course I'm not going to like them, but it's not a bigotry issue. It's, hey, live and let live issue, right? So, yeah, like gun banners, for example, you know, it doesn't matter. If you come at the Second Amendment to limit the Second Amendment, to destroy the Second Amendment, as a lot of people would like to do, you know, none of that list of, you know, gender, color, whatever, you know, religion makes any difference to me whatsoever, right? You and I could be, we could have common denominators in all sorts of areas, but if you are trying to limit my freedom, you're coming at the Second Amendment or the First Amendment or any of the Bill of Rights, then I have no use for you, you know. So, I mean, you know, again, just a reminder, you know, just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you're a bigot, okay? I guess it comes down to, I guess, the reason you don't like somebody, the reason you don't want to be around that person, the reason you don't want that person to have any influence, maybe, yeah, like in politics or whatever, okay? So just a little clarification. Crazy world. Wow, and we're not going to get into all of it, but one thing it ought to really hit home for all of us, again, how important it is to vote, right? How important, all right, cool muffler, how important it is to vote. You know, the thing I've been preaching my whole life almost, but especially since we've been doing videos, you really, really need to be in touch with people that influence your lives, you know, in politics, whether you like them or not. You know, we've got to stay in touch, and we've got to vote. Got to vote. I mean, it's simple. Even I can do it. You know, if you've never registered to vote, I mean, it's just simple. You know, and vote. Okay, it really lets us know, and all this stuff going on, how important it is, because there's so many things going on, and we can't. You feel helpless sometimes, right? What can you do? You feel like maybe somebody's going to burn your city down, and police are standing back, or whatever it is. One thing you can do, though, is when it's time to vote, make sure you get in there and vote. Okay. So anyway, crazy world, and I'll get into some of that, but not a lot. You know, I was the gun I have today is, guess what? .3 Springfield. This is the World War II version of it with the rear sight. You've seen it, done videos on it. I love it. Just a nice old bolt-action rifle, and it's what I was in the mood to bring out today. I just picked up another rifle we'll be doing video on, a 6.5 Creedmoor M1A, and I almost brought it out to start messing with it, but you know, I hadn't even taken it out of the box and the wrapper, and I'm just in the mood to shoot this thing. You know, it's a pretty day, and I'm going to do that, and we'll get that out another time. And I wanted to thank, because that M1A came from great company. So, and then of course got my Talon grips here on the table and my ballistol. I mean, life is good, right? Hope you thought I was leaving. You were hoping I was leaving when I say, I guess I can't say life is good in the middle of a video, can I? Yeah, I can do it. Because life is good, you know, and even with all the craziness going on, it's better for some people than others, isn't it? And everybody has their burden to bear. I mean, really, who does not have something going on? Everybody's trying to, you know, struggle through life, not to be dramatic, but everybody has struggles of some sort. Maybe it's just mentally, things to overcome. Maybe it's overt, it's physical, it's, you know, whatever. You have one leg or something. Everybody, you know, has something. And if you live very long, you definitely will, okay? So, you know, this week was the 20-year anniversary of my mother's death. I was reminded a couple days ago. And, you know, I mean, those things, those days, you know, where you were, and, you know, you know, I remember John being there, he was 12, and, you know, you just remember those times, of course, and you miss those people. And so anyway, savor the moment and enjoy your parents, enjoy everybody, okay? Because guess what? They won't be around forever. I've got another news flash for you. Neither will you or I, right? We will not be around forever. But we're here now, okay? And that's kind of what makes life good. And a rifle like this makes it even better, doesn't it? Nice. Can I shoot it again? Yeah, I'm going to take a couple of shots. It's a kicker. It's a 30-06. It really is. Now talk about some more stupid stuff. How's that? I ran across some stuff from the archives. I'm cleaning. I'm still cleaning up, straightening up, and I cleaned the. I'm working on the basement. You might have seen my post on Instagram where I found 1,260 rounds of 7.62 by 39 in a crate I'd picked up at Knob Creek. It was buried. Oh man, 30-06. Where's a bowling? Oh, there's a 2-liter. I brought a 2-liter over here. There's a bowling pin. Boom. This thing is so powerful, it'll even go through that paper. Wow. I'm not sure why it moved it so much. That's not, oh, I know why. It's a sheer blast. Let's try the red plate. Let's try the gong. I'd be in trouble if I can't hit the gong. Although the sight did slide down on me, I had to move that back. I was plinking before y'all got here. And yeah, I thought, well, I must have hit the wood. You know, when you've got a target stand like that, you try not to hit the wood that you're stapling or whatever your target's to, and it'll last forever. You shoot your cardboard, your paper target, right? And I thought, well, I got over it. But what it wasn't that. It was just a sheer blast against that cardboard, moving it. I should know that. I have shot a few times in my life. So that should not be a mystery to me. Well, one thing oh man, you can believe my basement's probably like your basement if you have a basement or garage and everything else. And there were some things I needed to move around and organize some things, some ammo, and there were a stack of 3 boxes that they were kind of under stuff. When I quit teaching, back to that topic, right? I got this stuff in boxes I wanted to keep, brought it home, put it in the basement, and there it was. That was 8 years ago. And I opened up the one on top and said, well, how much of this stuff do I really need to keep? And I was trying to go through that too. And first thing I ran across was this old basket. You ever seen one of these wire baskets? Probably in the movies, you know, like an old Humphrey Bogart movie or something, the wire basket. I had that I bought that at Beatty's Office and Supply, downtown Franklin, Tennessee. I remember. And it would have been 72 or 3, 1973. When I taught back out in Franklin, Tennessee in the 70s. And I had that on my desk in my classrooms there through the 70s. And I also used it when I was in business and I was in publishing different things. I had an office in some of those jobs and I used it there. Back in the days when you got memos, you communicated interofficely through paper memos. You type it up or get your secretary type it or whatever and go out to the various folks and be here as your inbox, your basket, you know, on your on your desk. And then when I got back into teaching in 1990, I dragged it out and it was on my desk, I guess essentially the whole 23 years I taught, second go round of teaching. And then so I put it in a box, you know, I wanted to save it. But anyway, that's that old basket. I don't have a lot of use for it. Maybe I should put it on the shooting table and keep ammo in it. It worked too well. So anyway, I pulled that out. I thought I'll bring it out and for the Sunday shoot around. And I ran across in those 3 boxes, interesting stuff, really takes you back to, gosh, all those faculty meetings, various assignments for students, exams, midterm exams, final exams, and all that kind of thing. And speaking of time machines, well, here you go. Here's a picture. Isn't that a handsome dude? That's from one year That's what I look like. You believe that? Teaching before I cut my hair off. Okay. Floppy disk, one of the grading programs was on. I'd always keep back. Oh, here's a good one. America Online. I don't know if I showed you that or not. Some of those America Online discs, you know, back when that was one of the very few, if not the only service. And of course I was on that. Old calculator I used a lot. Leave that out and use it. So my students would remember that one. They were always grabbing it. They liked that for some reason. Most of them, if they had a calculator, it seemed like it was just a really small little thing, you know. And this one was on my desk at all times, and I think they thought it was cool because it was so large, you know. And of course, a brand new Bosch unopened floppy disks, right? Collector's item there. Oh yes, IBM formatted. iNation diskettes, 1.44 megabytes. Ooh, a lot of memory on each of those. So I'll save that for the archives. Maybe I'll sell that. I bet Plinkster would probably buy that, wouldn't he? Just he'd probably still use those. And what else? Oh yeah, remember these? Any of you? Clie, Sony Clie, a PDA. Personal device assistant, or whatever it was, you know. I actually used one of those for a while. Though this one, they weren't cheap either. That was pre-cell phone days. Pretty cool. Oh, look what else I ran across. I wonder where these were. I had dug because I scanned them. Actually, they were scanned when they were sent to me by Vanderbilt originally, and I printed them out. But I saved them somewhere in a file, and I can't. So that's one advantage of having cell phones and digital cameras. Because I've had digital cameras a long time. Is one reason we got started doing this. I always had a digital camera in my pocket. That very first 45 Colt thing I did, I always had a digital camera. So I pulled out and shot it. But anyway, I can't find them, and I was going to show you all at some point, and I just couldn't find them. And in my files of pictures, as I was going to say, one of the advantages of having a digital photography and cell phones and pocket camera and all that was you could take pictures of everything. You didn't think about film or getting it developed. Well, the disadvantage is the same thing because you take so many pictures, I just lost track trying to even organize them. A lot of other than by date, you know, files of date and all of them piled in there. Did I show you this too? My flip phone, one of my old flip phones. I should have been on the phone when we started, you know, one of my old flip phones. I didn't know I still had that thing. LG. I don't know what year that goes back to. Some of you are thinking, well, what's wrong with that? I still use one. Right? And I bet anyway, I didn't ever show them. I fell one time, and I don't know, I fell one time, right? But you all know, many of you, about coming up the stairs and slamming my hand against the door frame and breaking my hand. That hadn't been all that long ago. I was at a cast doing some one-arm videos, that kind of thing. You run across those. Well, this was before that. I don't even remember the year. It's 15 years ago, or along in there somewhere. A friend of mine was coming out to shoot with me, and I was moving around back and forth to the shed, and came in, was going to run in the house, put some coffee on. We'll sit and drink coffee, you know, before we shoot. And it had been kind of cold, and frost was on some timbers, just landscaping up in the yard. And there's nothing slicker than wood if it's wet sometimes, right? It was just like ice. And this was icy, kind of frosty, so it was even worse. I hit that with my foot coming up, bouncing up through the yard, and I fell. I mean, it's one of those deals where you're just headed to the ground before you know it. And there's no chance to catch yourself or anything, like falling on ice sometimes, if it's ever happened. Because there was ice. And I fell against that timber. You know, my arm trapped against my body, just bang, full weight. And so it kind of shattered the bone. And anyway, let's see. I'll have to edit that point. I had my name on that, but not that big a deal. But let's see. Yeah. I'll show it to you again. Yeah, so there's what my left arm looks like. Okay, can you see that? There's the yeah. See those screws in there? Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, those are pretty, aren't they? And titanium. So I've got all this titanium, and all this titanium. Yeah, that's another angle. But I'll have to say, Vanderbilt did a good job. Okay. So we had a big shoot planned. We were going to shoot that day, and oh boy, John was home from college, I think at the time. He was upstairs, had the window open, and he heard me holler, and he knew it was something. And he got me to Vanderbilt, and I was okay. I remember I came in the house and told him, John, we need to go to Vanderbilt. Need to get, call your mother, whatever. Or I even tried to call with my right hand, I think. And as I was talking to him, I lost it. I passed out just briefly, fell back against the door and broke the glass in the door. But I didn't. But then I came sort of to, and I was okay. And let me grab that. I'm gonna walk through that muzzle, even though it's empty. But anyway, that whole day I was at Vanderbilt, and came home, got home though about 10, 11 that night, my arm in a sling, and the microsurgery it took to do that, just unbelievable. Yes, I was in surgery for 3-4 hours, all that, and they fixed it up. I have not, knock on wood, I've not had any trouble with that arm, and that's been a while, 15 years at least. And if you ever see in a video, you see that see the scar there where they had to split that open. It looks like I tried to off myself or something, so they went there and did all that, and it's amazing when somebody knows what they're doing. Cuts you open and works on you with hammers and saws and screwdrivers and all that, and titanium, good supply of titanium. So so far so good. Interesting. Oh, that was, I don't know if I told this either. Have I? You just never know. Again, this was, about 15 years ago, so I don't know. And so I'm in recovery. I wake up, and you lose track of the time. You don't know. And my arm is totally numb, of course, very numb, as numb as it can be. And so I'm kind of groggy, and all I've got on, of course, is the hospital gown, and a nurse comes around, is talking to me, and she's going to help me get dressed, and I'm really to the point where I can put me in a chair and take me home. Really, nothing more they can do, and it's just my arm, even though it was all shattered and messed up, and I've been under anesthetic, for hours. So my wife's going to drive me home. But anyway, getting dressed was a little difficult since, I really had one arm and I was a little bit groggy. So, and nothing on except the hospital gown. And you've been there before, many of you. Turns out the nurse who was helping me get dressed, get my underwear and my shorts on and get me dressed, is a former student of mine. I was teaching a junior English class one semester or year, and it probably was about 93 or 4, along in there. And she was out of school by now, and had been nursing, and so you just never know. You never know. When I was trying to indoctrinate her in that class with the wonders of great literature, little did I know that little Susie, whatever her name was, over here, one day would see me naked and be helping me put my underwear on. I'll tell you. Anyway, it's a little humor from that night. But anyway, that was that, and I don't know if I ever told you about that. And I'm going too long. I'm rambling already, aren't I? The other thing I came up with, and I'll quit all this. Let's see. Yeah, we still got. I ran across my old exam. Oh man, I don't know if I can read this or not. I ran across this, and I read it, and I thought, oh man, does that take me back? Does that take me back? Well, this was a piece of an exam, and what I got to where I would do, I taught English again, folks, and lots of new folks. I taught English. This was middle school, and on exams in the spring, because we would do poetry in the spring semester, I would one of the things they would have to do on the exam, just like in class, but on the exam, they would have to kind of explicate a poem. They would have to write a poem and include some various poetic devices in it, and then label them for me and show me they knew what they were doing, all that kind of thing. I mean, the poem, as long as it was a poem, is all right. They used some verse and some rhyme scheme and all that. But then I would write, or I would include a poem in the exam, and they would have to plot the rhyme scheme. It takes you back, right? You're getting sick just hearing about it, right? And they'd have to find any allusions in there, similes, metaphors, repetition, just the various devices that are commonly used in poetry, all right? And I did that for years, and one spring I just got a wild hair, and I thought, I'm gonna. Sometimes I'd have a hard time, and then when I use the same poem I used the previous year or anything like that, because students communicate. And one year I said, I'm just going to write my own, and I'll just include, if it's stupid, it doesn't matter. I'm trying to test them to make sure they identify these things and can plot the rhyme scheme and everything, all the stuff we've talked about. And so I did that. I got to doing that probably 10, 15 years before I quit teaching, and I just started doing that every time. And I'd write a serious poem occasionally, and goofy, and just different things. Anyway, I ran across this, and this will give you some insight into how I picked on them so much. Anyway, I entitled it Finals Fright. And the funny thing was they never knew it was coming. They would see the poem, of course, was on the exam. They didn't know I was going to do this. And they would just start looking at it, and I might sign it some goofy name, and they wouldn't even know that I wrote it, And sometimes I wouldn't even tell them. So it would just depend, but this one is Finals Fright, okay? So bear with me. From the copy machine marched an odd-looking man. A screaming exam he held tight. Oh, wait a minute. Now, if you're in school right now and you're studying poetry, well, you're not. Nobody's in school right now, right? Well, maybe you can find some of the poetic devices. Personification, remember all those goodies? Okay. And a little, what do you call it? Like forced rhyme, forced insertion of some of these, just to get them in there. But so Finals Fright, final exam. From the copy machine marched an odd-looking man. A screaming exam he held tight in his hand. Like a possum, he grinned a most devious smile, for his students had made an impossible trial. The sneer on his face as he handed it out would scare any teen, of that there's no doubt. In the panic they felt he took so much delight, this teacher so cheerful to cause so much fright. His hero is Homer, the Simpson who's lame, another who's clueless to a teenager's pain. He loves to see teens get all bug-eyed and squirm as he passes out tests with questions that burn. But revenge will be sweet on a day when we're able to give him our own test to that mind that's unstable. Then all those who care will know well of our plight with this creature so cheerful to cause so much fright. We'll all feel just great on that day when we get even, 'cause revenge will be sweet and he'll wish he was leaving. With payback complete, we'll have very few gripes with this creature so cheerful to cause so much fright. And I signed it, Will M. Shakespeare. Funny, huh? And then just to get one last dig in, I put my face on there and signed Angry Poe. By the way, that picture I took of my face, isn't that cute? I would put that just randomly sometimes in better resolution, and even in color, like at the top of a pop quiz or something, or at the bottom of a test, and just to harass them, just the ugliest, meanest look that I could conjure up. So anyway, I had fun picking on those birds, and it was funny. I would do that, and then they would come up, did you write that? Or whatever. They was like, it was great because it was in the spring. I spent the entire year picking on them, of course. And then what do they have to do? They've got to figure out all this stuff in a poem. And no, they're not lucky enough to get Shakespeare, the real Shakespeare, or Wordsworth, or Emily Dickinson, or Walt Whitman. No, some poem they might have even looked at or studied or read a little bit. No. They get a poem that not only they have never seen, nobody has ever seen, So I had a lot of fun with that. So anyway, this down memory lane, the old box of treasures that I ran into. And I promise that's probably all of the treasures. I think I have kind of laid eyes on almost everything that from those days. I'm sure there's other things, but I could bore you with. Some of it I will go through further. One thing I did my last year or 2 years was I just stuck in a folder, and I think I remembered almost everything. Like any piece of paper that we got, like from the in-service at the beginning of the year, various memos, just all sorts of things, and I just stuck it in a folder kind of chronologically. And so I'm going to go back and look through that sometime when I really am bored, and kind of take me through that entire year. And I looked at enough of that just to know, wow, the crazy stuff that goes on. I run across some of that from my jobs in the real world too, in publishing and different things, and it's interesting, and you would have the same experience even if you're 30, or 40, but you just forget about all the details and the minutia, don't you, of the things you've been involved in. Maybe you had a job when you from being age 23 to age 27 or something. Whatever you're doing, there's just so much about that every day that if you went back and you looked at those emails and just everything you were involved in, it really, there's a lot of things that it would take you back to. A lot of memories, a lot of details, a lot of people, interesting people, maybe people you didn't like, people you liked, different things you did, trips you took, for that company or just whatever. And I've got so many companies and a couple of schools that I have all the same kind of thing that just takes me back to so many details of things we were involved in. That's incredible. And it also occurred to me, thinking about some of that as I was cleaning out and then listening, have the radio on, listening to the things going on, and think, I think that may be part of the issue with people just so involved and looking for drama, creating drama in their lives. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with protesting, demonstrating, because I have done that, for the Second Amendment many times. Been to a lot of rallies and essentially marched, for the Second Amendment. So that's the American way. Perfectly constitutional, thankfully, right? But as far as just going beyond that, rioting, looting, hurting people, destroying businesses, and all the things that a lot of us just want to shake our heads at, and then too the drama, needing to be a part of that sort of drama, destroying things or destroying whatever, on the internet, social media, being kind of a professional troll, getting your meaning from life as a troll, as a hater. That's kind of your thing, just hating on people in creative ways, trying to downgrade and bash people in creative ways or something. Just leaving stupid comments and going around the internet even. So it's not just out in the real world, just the virtual world, any world that some people are a part of. Just like the old phrase, get a life, they really just need to get a life. And that's the connection I'm kind of making there. I've had a lot of life, everywhere I've been, everywhere I've worked. And then outside of there, I try to create a life, a recreational life, in addition to my business life, my teaching life, my professional life there, I just wonder, especially these days, a lot of people, they don't have a lot of life, quote unquote, to keep them occupied. You know, well, they got to go occupy something else, right? I mean, people who are interested in carving out a cool place in life the best they can for themselves or family, uh, and nose to the grindstone to some extent, thinking ahead about a career, what they want to do, and just trying to make their lives better, helping people. I don't know. How does that leave a lot of time for sitting around thinking up ways to destroy the world? I don't. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I mean, there is such a thing as being tranquilized by the trivial, as was it Kierkegaard, philosopher, said. Coined that phrase. I forget who it was, but tranquilized by the trivial. I think all of us can find ourselves in that place if we're not careful, being tranquilized by the trivial to the point where we miss the big picture. I guess that's kind of the phrase, don't see the forest for the trees or whatever. But anyway, I don't know, I just have a lot of great memories and a lot of great times, and not all great. But in a way, it sounds condescending, but I feel really I feel sorry in some ways for people if they're in their 20s or 30, past teenage years. Teenage years different, when you're young, it's just different, even early 20s. But, if you're 30 or 40 or 50 and you don't have a lot of interesting memories and haven't been involved in some productive pursuits, along the way, had some responsibilities. I kind of feel sorry for people who's never ever kind of got into life and did much that amounted to anything, really. So I don't know. Not that I'm better than other people. I mean, it's just been. I can't imagine not having done that. I guess is the point I'm making. And even what we're doing now, this is a career. It's like work, quote unquote, dare I say. No, there's a lot to do, and it's great. And I run across, we've been doing this 12 years, I run across like old videos or files and just different things, like, wow, that was cool, I remember that. Or I might be over in the woods and see something from a video we did 8 years ago. Not that I leave the woods junked up on me, but a piece of the old owl. We did a couple of goofy videos with the owl, if you remember those, you've been around a long time. And I know where there's a piece of it. We've created a lot of memories even doing this. So anyway, create some memories. And I probably have gone so long that I don't have time, or do I? What else was I going to talk about? There were a couple of things I wanted to mention at least before I let you go. Am I still recording? Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of the social media and everything, I heard a phrase this week. I love it, and I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to use it. Tom Cotton, I think he's a senator from, is it Arkansas? He was the one he had written I think an op-ed editorial in the Wall Street Journal. Correct me if I'm wrong on this or something. And it got all misinterpreted, but the people that worked there talked the editors out of even publishing it. They took it down or something. I didn't really actually see it, heard something about it and all that. I'm not endorsing Tom Cotton. I stay out of that pretty much. But he was referring to the folks that work there as the woke child mob. And I thought that's great. The woke child mob, and that's why it's going after everybody, right? I mentioned these woke folks think they're enlightened, woke, and they act like children. And they are a mob, so that's it. That's perfect, man. You coined it. The woke child mob. I mean, they go after everybody. They really do. They just, they don't like what you're doing, what you're saying. They try to shut you down, cancel you out, right? And they've been very, very successful. But that's what it is. They're a woke child mob, basically. And it's a weird world with them in existence. What else was I going to talk about? Anything? I think I probably talked about a lot of stuff. I don't know what to say about Seattle. You know, I mean that. You know, that threat's coming to Nashville and everywhere else. You know, potential for that sort of thing. No easy answers. Again, protesting is the American way. It's when it gets beyond that that's really not the American way. Just depends on how badly, I guess, a wrong needs to be righted, right? But it's a crazy world, and again, wherever you stand on some of that, remember, get to the voting booth. Get to the voting booth, okay? And can I shoot just a little bit more before I let you go? Oh man, 30-06. I'll probably shoot a little bit after you leave, but I don't want to not shoot enough while you're here, because this is a for those who are not familiar, this is a 30-06 .03 Springfield. What, A1, A2? Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it for a while, and no, an A3. Duh, yeah, A3. World War II version. They put the sights back here, and I've got the World War I, version as well. But when they put the sight back here, it just made such a difference. Okay, 30-06 fires the same cartridge. The Browning machine gun, the Garand. Okay, big old cartridge, similar to the modern 308. But a little bit bigger cartridge case, and just a wonderful old rifle. Let's shoot something like a bowling pin here. How about that propane tank? I hear it ringing. Another bowling pin. Woo! Knocks them off, doesn't it? Got one more bullet. Looks like I knocked that red plate down. Hit that one on the last shot. Oh man, nice, nice. I could take that to battle. I like that. I don't want to go to battle, but that would do. That would do. Pretty cool. Oh man, speaking of that, one last thing. You're not going to believe it. I used to have an Uzi, select fire, class 3, paperwork, and everything. John's talked about it. He shot when he was a little guy and everything. And I sold it. So I do not own a class 3 firearm, select fire, full auto. Don't even own a suppressor right now. But John and I set up a trust. He's got a couple things in the works and everything. And that Thompson you might have seen with a short barrel SBR and all that sort of thing. Makes it a little bit simpler, not any faster, but to get things. So I did, there's such thing as middle-aged crazy, right? Maybe I missed that, middle-aged crazy. I didn't buy a Corvette, and go chasing supermodels, when I was middle-aged. I didn't do that. Probably did some other crazy things. Well, my whole life, actually. But what would you call this? Old age crazy. Because I am in the process of buying a machine gun. Yeah. Well, actually, I'm in process of buying an assault rifle. An assault rifle. Can you believe that? I guess a real assault rifle, if we're going to use that term. At least it's used more correctly, because I am buying a AK-47, of all things. Type 56. Yep. The one used so extensively in Vietnam. Made by the Chinese, direct copy of the Russian AK-47. And yeah, I don't know why, but I am. It just occurred. I've told John so many times. I've said, probably to you all too, if I ever get another select fire, fork over the bucks for that. I really couldn't imagine doing it. I've not been driven to do it really, but I've thought about it time to time. I said, if I ever did it again, I think I would just have to have a real AK-47. I like an AK-47, and it's just cool. They're just cool, and that's kind of what I'm doing. But yeah, it'll be a while, like a year probably. But anyway, I'll keep you posted, and I know it's kind of scary, isn't it? Somebody that like me, owning a machine gun. Well, I've owned one before, and I've shot them a lot, right? But someone who writes poetry like you heard probably shouldn't be allowed to buy a machine gun. Anyway, I thought I'd let you know that you never know. So anyway, old age crazy. That's my excuse. Not middle age crazy, but old age crazy. And it'd be kind of fun. Fun occasionally. There's nothing to me sacred about the full auto really, but it's really more so. It'd be like if I knew somebody had an M14, I really like the M14 rifle. I would be attracted if you could buy one. Maybe you can, but they're like crazy expensive. Like it'd be cool to have a real M14, from the military, like a surplus. If there was any way they would, sell them, the ones that in the warehouses, right? Depending on what it costs, of course, right? Simply because it's a real M14, and not because, oh my gosh, I can't wait to shoot an M14 full auto. Well, if you ever have shot an M14 full auto, get ready. You better have yourself tied down, if you expect to hit anything on the third shot. 308 in full auto in that rifle. The M14 is really, it's better as semi-automatic rifle. It's so many, in most cases by far, right? But because it would be the real deal, and what it's supposed to be, kind of like an AK. It's supposed to have the fun switch on it, so that's a lot of the appeal, right there. But anyway, I'll let you know. So I appreciate you all watching, and my gosh, I don't know anything else to tell you. I've probably gone way too long, and hope you survive all the craziness in the world. And it'll get better, really. It has to. It has to. And we'll look back on some of this with amusement, I think. Some of it we won't, but a lot of it we will. And it occurs to me that I think we have learned a lot about our government. Yeah, through this coronavirus thing, and just everything that's going on right now. I think we're learning a lot about police departments, or local government, federal government, state government, like what's going on and who's working to make things better, who's working to fix things, who's not, who's lying to us, which is really important when it comes time to vote. Just keep that in mind. Got to keep everything that's going on right now in mind. It's great that there's an election coming up this fall, because we have an opportunity really to make our voices heard. That you can go shout on the internet, social media all you want, but you need to go in there and vote. Make a difference. I've heard, speaking of the police, I've heard some reform ideas this week that make a lot of sense. There's a lot of common sense out there, and some things that just make sense to me. And I think one thing that will come out of this is that I think the average police officer is going to be less reluctant to just vehemently protect, his or her brother, so to speak, or sister, whatever, the fellow officer, regardless of what they do. And I think that'll be good, because there's think about it, it's just like the band of brothers, in military and police circles. You're out there and your life is in danger. And so there quite naturally develops that brotherhood, sisterhood, okay, that bond. It's just quite natural to protect, each other, right? It's kind of the epitome of that, really. Because you're protecting each other in life and death situations, literally. You have his back, you have her back in life and death situations, potential lethal situations. So, so you can see how that would develop, and also the us against them kind of mentality develops, but I think that is going to be one of the most beneficial results of this, realizing, and even legally, just with these reforms that, hey, sorry, Joe, I love you, but, first of all, if I see you doing something that's just not really kosher, then you be doing, I'm going to call you on it, and I'll report you if I have to. I love you like a brother, but I'm going to have to do that, Okay? And again, it doesn't have to be anything that's widespread. The people carrying the guns in charge with the authority, if even one of them abuses that power, that authority, even when they didn't plan to, maybe, it's so egregious because they are in authority. So, and that's one of the reasons why everybody that's been around very long at all can name and relate a negative interaction with the police somewhere along the way. I can. Everybody you talk to over 22, maybe over 15, but can come up with an incident where they were stopped. Maybe it was just for speeding, where a policeman was very unfriendly, maybe even a little belligerent, and you didn't do anything to bring that on. Okay. Now, if someone does something to bring that on, hey, all bets are off. Somebody who does, somebody who's resisting, there's no future in that, right? That makes no sense. But everybody has at least the one incident where they can think of where they were just steaming, wanted to say something or do something but didn't. Now, why is that? Are all cops like that? No, of course not. But there's a very, very small number of them out there, of people just like the people you work with, right? Think about the people in your office or around in your company. There's probably a couple of people who are very quick to lose their temper, or they get a little bit stressed and they don't really treat people like they ought to, or whatever. Well, same with everybody else. Whether you're a cop or a fireman, you're the guys cutting the grass or whatever it is. So it's just more serious. There are certain jobs, as I've talked about, where you have to really maintain self-control, and it's hard to do when you're stressed out. Think about that. The people that you're dealing with all day long that you're having to. I was a volunteer with the police department in my county back in the 90s, and I wasn't a real cop, but I volunteered to help out, and I would ride some. And I thought, wow, some of the people that you have to deal with, they're just, if they're not just out and out like belligerent or problematic, they're just not very smart, put it that way, and might do something really dumb, and endanger their lives or yours, and it's just the way it is. It makes sense. It's like I only get wet when it rains. Well, I wonder why. The people that are creating the need for a policeman to be sent to their house, okay, there's just a very good likelihood they're not the most civilized, brilliant people on the planet, okay? How many cops have had been called to your house, okay? Ever? It happens, but, it was a very interesting experience, I have to say. It's a really sad situation where, like, young people, kids, being abused, or I'll never forget one call where we had to take the boy was about 11 or something, to take him to child services. Both of his parents were drunk out of their minds, and apparently that had been an issue that, he had to call the police on them. They're fighting, and Just really, really pathetic people, really pathetic people, and just sad, sad. I'm not talking race here at all. These are white folks, in fact, almost all the sad cases I can think of that I witnessed were just white folks. I mean, again, I'm sick of talking about color. Just some sad people out there. And anyway, cops deal with that all day long, that kind of thing. And it really calls on special people with a lot of self-control, a real balance, in their lives. And I don't know how they do it. I've talked before about how, if you're a cop in this world, you need to be on duty for like a month and then rotate it off for about 2 weeks. You go to the beach or something and you do some, I don't know what you do, something useful, but you go surf and do paperwork, then come back, clear your mind, okay? But I can't imagine just every day, like 8 or 12 hours, and the next day the same thing, and dealing with that all day long. It's rare that you're going to somebody's house that you're not going to Dr. Smith's house very often, okay? Or your neighborhood dentist's office, house, you're going places where it's just some sad folks, but that way. They don't get along at all, or they're abusing somebody, they're abusing each other, okay? They have substance abuse issues. Just so much of it. So no easy answer. I'm getting at no easy answer. It's ironic that it calls on, it needs to pay like 3 times what it pays and try to get people who, well, I don't know, just get the best people you can. I don't know who is best for it, to tell you the truth. So anyway, that's a problem. I got off on that and talked too much, but that's just an issue. So you're going to have, as with any profession, again, back to the bottom line, you're going to have a sliver of people who shouldn't be doing it and cannot handle the stress, right? And so they need to be checked by their colleagues, they just do, and fired if, they just can't handle it. So anyway, some of the reforms, there's 4 or 5 different things I've seen that look good to me. I think it would make sense. It makes sense, and I think most well-meaning police officers would probably be for that. If you're a good cop, you want things to you don't want somebody over your shoulder every second, but you want supervision. You want things to go well. You don't want these idiots in the department. You want them weeded out. You really do. Same with teaching. Everybody knows. And I was never in teachers' unions and that kind of thing. I was independent, more like business, independent school. I had a yearly contract. They could fire me anytime they want, without cause. Yeah, well, we don't tell you. We're just going to go a different direction. I could be gone. I didn't know protection. There were some really good teachers fired from where I taught my last 23 years. It was crazy. They just didn't get along with somebody or something. I wasn't sure what it was, but great teachers. Yes, but there are a lot of situations where you have a union protects them, and that can help keep somebody who shouldn't be working, in that job. And so, and I didn't want anybody working with me like that. I would, not that I'm going to go around, snitching on people every little chance I can or something like that. But where I worked, we didn't have any real problem teachers for that matter. But I would not have wanted some real, I don't know, somebody who was just not good, not healthy for the kids, I guess, what I'm saying. I wouldn't want them working with me, you want to watch each other. I think we all watched each other, because you don't know who has a problem, who appears just normal, but yet is maybe sick or something. You just don't know. And your main job there is to protect the kids and to educate them, but also protect them. And so, I mean, in a heartbeat, you know, we all would have, we reported anybody, anything was, you know, funny business going on, of course. And it really needs to be that way in police departments. It really does. Have that same attitude about the public, like like if you're running a business, your customers come first, right? Well, the public comes first in a lot of ways, and if your fellow officers are abusing anybody in any way, that can't happen. You know, that can't happen. So if we can get that kind of attitude with police officers, and a lot of them probably have that attitude, but make that just a part of it, you know, I think it'll be a lot better situation. Okay, and I'm still rambling, aren't I? So I'm going to shut up. Like I say, I always reserve the right on these. I had no idea how long I've gone. Could have been 2 hours or hour, 2 hour and 30 minutes or whatever. I go through and just delete parts. Not that I've said anything inappropriate that I'm sorry I said. That could happen sometime. I don't think it's ever happened. But I still reserve the right just to trim, maybe rambling if I want to. So if you ever see it, a jump or something, that's what it would be in one of these. I don't know if we've ever done that in a real video, a gun video. We might do it, but if we do it, it's for a good reason. We go out of our way to never hide anything, okay? Like gun related, anything that would get into our credibility. You know, in fact, it's happened, you know, John's coughed a time or two and we had to cut, or I couldn't get a gun back. It happened in a video you haven't seen yet. I couldn't get the mag out of this firearm, the Thompson. And I didn't want to keep banging it in the video. It was going too long. And so we cut and it got it out so we wouldn't destroy the gun or the magazine, the drum magazine, and then went on with the video. So, I mean, that kind of stuff happens. And it's happened, you know, where John might have coughed or got, you know, whatever, needed to cough really bad, a coughing fit. He has allergies and different things. I've said this before, I think. But so often when we have to cut like that, it of course doesn't happen very often, but I said, well, I'm sure glad I wasn't like in the middle of shooting the firearm or something like that, because we don't, I know there's always trolls that are looking for things, and you all know, you know, whether or not we're trying to put anything up your eyes, of course, but still we like to make it really clear that we're not. And I'd hate to be in the middle of shooting and have to cut, because it might look like, yeah, malfunction. Yeah, you didn't want to show that, did you? No, Springfield wouldn't send you that check. Glock wouldn't send you that check. Colt wouldn't send you that check. Just kidding for new people. We don't get checks from those gun companies, even though we still get accused of that occasionally. So anyway, we just go out of our way to make that clear, okay? Just in the interest of, you know, transparency. So I will shut up. If this thing went 2 hours, I'm gonna have to trim something, and that's always tough, because as I'm looking through it, if it's 2 hours, that means there's where's my calculator? Yeah, 120 minutes. That means there's 120 minutes of pure genius. So how do you decide which genius to cut out? That's a very difficult task, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So anyway, I'll get back to cleaning out the basement. I promise not to bring a whole tray of junk out here next time, and I'll chat with you next Sunday, okay? All right, I hope you survived the week. I hope things are not too crazy in your town, in your city. Even if you're not voting right now, make your opinions heard if things are not going well in your city, in your town, in your county. If you think your leaders, your officials, elected officials are being stupid about the virus, or they're being stupid about the rioting or whatever it might be, let them know. Let them know now. So we always have a voice, because guess who is always the loudest voice? You know, the squeaky wheel, right? And the small number of people, usually smaller and sometimes very small, they can make themselves and their group look dramatically bigger than they really are. They really can, whether it's on the internet or even in your city, because the news is going to have a camera right on them, and have that on replay all day, right? So anyway, be good, and things are never as bad as they seem. That's right. They're never as good as they seem either, right? But they're never as bad as they seem. This too shall pass. And we'll see you next Sunday, and I'll have some more genius for you, okay? Life is good.